minute. Did you see how Jungkook immediately turned to look at Jimin just now? Eyes. That was the sentence that suddenly filled ARMY's timelines after a small moment in Mexico went viral again. It wasn't a big concert. It wasn't an emotional speech. It wasn't even a long interaction. Just a few seconds. But that's precisely why fans immediately went wild, loudly crying face. Amidst the relaxed atmosphere of their activities in Mexico, Jungkook and Jimin once again stole the spotlight without doing anything major. They were simply walking together, chatting casually, and occasionally chuckling, as usual. But there was one detail that kept fans replaying the video over and over again. The way Jungkook was watching Jimin. At first, everything seemed normal. It was bustling, people were moving around, and the members seemed to be enjoying their moment. But amidst the crowd, Jungkook's attention kept returning to one person, Jimin. Whether Jimin moved slightly, whether he was a few steps behind, or just glanced over for a moment, Jungkook was always aware. And that's what made ARMY start screaming online, loudly crying face. Why did he look at Jimin first? Help. He's so protective. The way Jungkook keeps an eye on Jimin isn't just a coincidence, eyes. One of the most talked about moments happened when things started getting a little hectic around them. Nothing dangerous. No major drama. But Jungkook's reflexes immediately changed. He automatically looked at Jimin. Quickly. Naturally. As if it had become a habit. And fans immediately noticed one thing that had been recurring in their interactions. Jungkook always had a different reaction when it came to Jimin. It wasn't something staged for the camera. Quite the opposite. Moments like this usually happen so quickly that they felt too natural to be planned. That's why many ARMYs find their interactions so compelling to watch. Because the little details felt real. In another video that fans were also discussing, Jimin was seen laughing while talking to people around him. Everyone seemed relaxed. But at the same time, Jungkook was still observant, occasionally glancing at Jimin. And the funny thing is, every time Jungkook did that, fans always had the same reaction, loudly crying face. He's in bodyguard mode again. Jungkook literally couldn't stop making sure Jimin was okay. The way he automatically focused on Jimin was so heartbreaking. What made the moment in Mexico even more special was the atmosphere itself. It wasn't overly formal. It wasn't as stressful as a big stage. It felt more like two people enjoying time together amidst their busy schedules. And it's precisely in such a relaxed atmosphere that small gestures become even more noticeable. Fans began to notice how Jungkook often walked a little closer to Jimin, sometimes subconsciously matching his steps, sometimes turning around to make sure Jimin was behind him. Little things like that might seem normal to others, but to ARMY, it was enough to make an entire fandom cry all night long, rolling on the floor laughing Purple Heart. Moreover, the chemistry between Jungkook and Jimin has always been a big topic for years. They have their own way of being together. Sometimes they're very loud and mischievous. Sometimes they're too comfortable with each other. And sometimes, just one small glance is enough to send fans into a frenzy. In Mexico, many ARMYs felt that side of them was on full display again. Not through excessive skinship, not through massive fan service, but through small, spontaneous gestures of affection. And that's precisely what made so many people emotional. Because the more natural a moment looks, the harder it is for fans to ignore it, loudly crying face. There's one part of the video that's most often cut and edited by fans. When Jimin appears to pause slightly behind, Jungkook immediately turns his head towards him before continuing walking. It's only a split second, but the internet immediately explodes, rolling on the floor laughing. He turned around so fast. Jungkook's eyes searching for Jimin again, loudly crying face. Why is he always aware of Jimin's position? Some fans even joke that Jungkook has his own Jimin radar. And honestly, after seeing so many of their moments over the years, the theory is starting to make sense, loudly crying face. Interestingly, Jungkook's protectiveness isn't anything new. Longtime ARMYs have probably seen the same pattern many times. When Jimin looks tired, Jungkook usually becomes more attentive. When things get too crowded, he instinctively looks at Jimin. And when the other members' jokes go too far, Jungkook's reaction is almost always the quickest. Maybe it's because they're already so close. Maybe it's because they understand each other without needing to say much. Or maybe Jungkook just can't hide how much he cares for Jimin. And of course, the fandom was immediately immersed in new theories after this moment in Mexico went viral. Some said they looked too comfortable. Others felt their chemistry was getting stronger. And there are also those who just sit there silently saying, "Yeah, Jungkook really failed to hide it this time," loudly crying face. But behind all the dramatic edits and fandom theories, there's one reason why moments like this always resonate with ARMYs. Because it feels simple. It's not a big scene. It's not something intentionally made to go viral. Just someone subconsciously making sure the person they care about is okay. And maybe that's what makes this small moment in Mexico feel so special. Purple Heart.